Okay, hello. Sorry. Yeah, it's been a minute, but let me just make sure the audio is running smoothly. Hello. Okay. Yeah, it's been a minute. I'm sorry. I think it's the whole not having a camera thing that's making recording these video journals a little tough. And oh yeah, I'm back in the UK. I'm here for like 20 days, and then we're gonna do summer, and then we're gonna do Singapore. But yeah, I'm actually gonna order my camera tomorrow probably. But anyways, sorry, I'm looking over here because I have OBS open and I'm looking at my face and I have like a white background, literally just a pure white screen on this side, just to record this. I thought, I might not have my camera, but I could just record this on OBS. I could set up the whole lighting stuff, but I kind of like the mood of this. It's kind of like, feel like Iron Man in his cave building a suit. But anyways, I wanted to talk a little bit today about a conversation I literally just had with my mom. She's in Canada right now at a TED conference. Dude, this bed looks messy as hell. Okay. She's in Canada right now at a TED conference. And what if I put the white background on this side? I put OBS here. That good? How's that look, Chad? Okay. Oh, dude, I want to stream so bad. It's been so long since I've streamed. I've been thinking about that a lot. Low key, no cap, no kizzy. Okay. We were talking about AI a little bit. So she's at this conference. They were talking about AI. She said, whatever. She was listening to this guy speak. Uh, and he was talking about the fact that the only way for us to be like safe or for humanity to survive this upcoming AI revolution is to merge a consciousness with AI and kind of become this like whatever like what happens when we we're able to upload consciousness and stuff like that, like all the jobs are going to be wiped, AGI stuff like that. And I I honestly, there's something I kind of want to reflect on what's happening in my brain when I hear these things, because yeah, or my heart almost. This is almost reflexive intuition. When I hear talk of the end of times, of AI replacing everyone, stuff like that, I think part of me, which is I guess the AI, not optimist, but the AI uh, part of me recognizes that AI is revolutionary in the sense that it seems that it's really the first time in history where we have been able to almost automate intelligence. So in the past, we've had all these revolutions where they mostly targeted the physical, in terms of our agricultural industry or uh, whatever. Just the industrial revolution gave us the engine, which allowed us to uh, climb in productivity and produce more for the same amount of effort due to external machine help. We use Google Sheets or Excel to do that with kind of our brain, but it's basically all physical. Instead of writing on a piece of paper, we're doing this on a computer, which makes it a lot faster. Yeah, this is almost I'd say largely the first time in history where we've automated our intellect, our thinking, not just the manifestation of our thinking in the physical world. That is unique, and that has had unique implications in terms of job loss, for example. So instead of farmers losing jobs to machines or whatever, we started seeing management falter a little bit. Of course, they're not going to fire themselves, but we've seen this affect, especially software engineering. Software engineering is taking a big hit. Of course, a lot of the job losses that we've seen so far aren't. I'd even argue aren't mostly due to AI. We seem to have returned to or the unemployment rate pre-COVID. So I don't know. It's not that crazy yet, okay? But without a doubt, if we can, with probably if we can develop AI that can literally do the job of a lawyer, a doctor, whatever, all of those all in one go, and we can give them like we can not give them legal autonomy. We can hold them responsible or whatever. Ignoring all of those things, then these jobs will disappear, of course. They'll be done easier by, or if they can be done by a machine, and you don't have to pay a human. The profit motive will literally dictate that you replace them. And even if you want to take like a communist approach or a moneyless, or like if you want to remove yourself from the capitalist approach, in all universes, AI would just simply be better at doing this. So even in a centrally planned economy, this seems to be the outcome. The only question is, or one of the questions I have is, will we actually ever reach that point? So I haven't looked a lot into AGI. Loosely, I'm going to define AGI in this conversation as, or artificial general intelligence, as the ability for an AI to successfully, or at least more, to complete the work of top 1% experts in any field. So that's artificial general intelligence. And then for artificial super intelligent, it is that, but smarter than every expert, than the best expert in every field. These are loose definitions. Again, I don't see these terms being defined using any form of solid or very solid or hard definitions anywhere, but I think there's a major, you know, I brought up the fact that I'm not 100% convinced that we'll reach this point anytime soon. And my mom's first reaction was to say, why does it seem that all of these people are convinced of this? And I kind of had to think for a second, but intuitively, there were, I think there were three answers I gave, her three primary reasons. One of them was, that's what they're saying. These are public-facing CEOs or almost even direct shareholders in these companies who have a fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders, or even a personal incentive to increase investment into these areas to hopefully increase revenue and improve their stock value to benefit their shareholders. So of course they're going to be building hype constantly about these products, right? I think that's pretty intuitive. Second point is they're kind of filling a space in the market. Again, I'm talking out of my butt here, so everything I'm saying might be completely wrong, but it seems that if only one of them were to build up this hype or whatever, all the money would go there. So I think it's the competition of the market is bring some of that out. And thirdly, I think, at least specifically in Anthropic's case, this is the vibes that I'm getting from being in the space. It seems that the goal is to build an AI that can recursively self-improve. And when you unlock the model that can recursively self-improve, it's just a matter of time until you get AGI. But I think that comes under the assumption that AGI is a coding issue. It's an engineer issue. It's just we haven't had the right people or the right time to crack this problem. And I'm not entirely convinced of that. Maybe it's because I'm ignorant on this matter, but I don't know if the question of AGI is a code question or software question. I think, there's this give me a second. Let me see what it's called. Okay, it's called Moore's Law. Okay, I always forget what it's called. But essentially, I think it's every 2 years, the density of transistors doubles. However, there are physical limits. So as transistor sizes, which are the little ones and zeros in your computer, basically in every chip, as transistor sizes approach the size of atoms, which I believe we're almost at that size. I think, again, super uneducated but super uneducated explanation of this. But as transistors get way too small or get smaller than atoms, you start to hit quantum level issues. I think it's called quantum tunneling, where you start getting leakages in essentially data in the transistors, which renders them unreliable. So essentially, there's this physical limit to transistor density, which limits computation. I'm not sure if it limits computation totally, because you can just build more chip, or you can just use more chips and stuff like that. But at least it limits the scale or the exponential increase in computation that we've been seeing for the past more than a century. I believe there must be some physical limits or physical laws that that relate to memory. I don't know how close we are to reaching these memory problems. It just seems that we have the problem of attention in the token model that these transformers use. We have the problem of memory. Literally not enough VRAM. You can keep stacking GPUs, but eventually we're gonna maybe not run out of space for data centers, but maybe money. Like this AI bubble might pop. We're not sure. Like for example, look at the Chinese market. Look at all of these open source models that are being released that are not completely competitive with the top private models, but they're catching up. They're only a little bit behind. And when you see DeepSeek, when you see K2, when you see all of these video and image generators, which China seems to be leading open source video and image generators, and then we have the large language models, which they're trailing not too far behind. You start to ask this question: is there a profit to be made here? Right? Can you release a model that you can truly have private control over, which the Chinese people next door won't be able to replicate, or at least to get 90% of the way there, which is mostly enough. Let's be real. At this point, a building with a big enough data center, let's say a corporate building, I'm not sure if people are doing this. And again, I'm not completely uneducated, but I'm pretty 99% uneducated on this matter. So I might be missing something insane here. But what's stopping Goldman Sachs from setting up a locally hosted server room downstairs where they're running K2 or they're running DeepSeek or they're running any of these open source models, or even Gemma 4, which just came out, and setting up their own locally ran LLM? No fees to OpenAI, no fees to Claude, no fees to Anthropic, no fees to Google, just electricity energy costs. I don't know. I don't see I don't see a way out of this AI bubble that I don't see a way out. I don't see how this is sustainable at all. And I might be missing something crazy here. But the technology is real. It's just like the dot-com bubble, right? People got way too hyped. People jumped in way too soon. It's not like dot-com websites or whatever weren't relevant. It's not like the internet hasn't completely altered our day-to-day lives and our entire society. But just a little bit too early and a little bit too hype. And the same thing might be happening with this AI bubble. We're not sure. I guess you never really know until you know, right? Yeah, I'm just not. I have this intuition. There's this part of me deep down that isn't too scared of what the future holds. There's also another part of me that's screaming, "Oh my God, what's gonna happen? You know, what job am I gonna have?" I guess I can do physical labor and stuff, but that wouldn't be very fun. I am part of, I guess, provided we keep being lucky and something that doesn't happen. I am part of an economic class that wouldn't be forever held under the boot of the techno feudalists, and as long as the S&P keeps growing, we're pretty much being chilling. But I don't want to live in a society where we're separated into these like caste systems with no mobility. I might not be I think I have the privilege of not being like breaking my pants over this potential upheaval of the economy through AI. But I guess I don't know. I'm not 100% convinced that we're gonna get to AGI soon. I'm not. I don't know. I'm not very convinced, and I'm not convinced that it's gonna be a complete threat. Let's say tomorrow Anthropic comes down. They have the AGI model. For some reason, Anthropic completely gapped the because we're not close. We are not close to that. But let's say Anthropic completely gaps the market and they say, oh my God, we've got AGI. This is our model. What stops the US government from coming in and saying, hey, buddy, we're not going to let you completely destroy the economy. Okay. We've seen the US government is very comfortable, at least the current government is comfortable in taking extreme unprecedented measures on these companies when they're not playing nice, when they're not playing fair. What's stopping corporations or even people, members of the state, from lobbying the government through protest or through monetary incentives, right? To put an end to this, right? To forbid them from releasing this model. What's stopping the US from recognizing that it could have, or even China, from recognizing that it could have total dominance on the rest of the world by getting this model early and spamming it? I don't know. There are so many complicated factors associated with this. I just see it impossible to I see it impossible to predict. I think only in the future, looking back, will we ever know what could happen. Well, what did happen, I guess. I don't know. Give me a second. Oh my God, I don't know how I completely forgot to mention this, but again, this might be limited experience. This might be completely incorrect, but from what I've seen so far in my personal experience, it seems that we're getting hardcore throttled. I see token ceilings being hit way more often, way easier, way quicker. I see model performance. I'm not gonna say getting throttled per se, but it seems that it's slowing down at least a little bit through codecs. I'm not sure about Claude, but I've heard through the grapevine. I mean, Claude's always had some crazy limits, crazy low limits. But from codecs and from anti-gravity, from Gemini and from ChatGPT, I felt some rate limits getting hit faster, and I've seen. I mean, anti-gravity introduced weekly token limits a while ago. I don't remember how long ago. Maybe a couple of weeks ago. I don't know. Stuff's moving weird. Okay, this infinite subsidization of tokens is going to have to end eventually. I mean, all these companies are losing a bunch of money on all these things. Sure, you have companies like Google, which have really strong fundamentals and other massive profitable areas, and a lot of money just held and kept and saved up that they can use to subsidize these things and corner the market. But I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not 100% convinced. I'm not 100% convinced yet. Again, I think a core issue here that we're not discussing a lot, or at least only see a handful of people discuss, is the question of scalability. The technology is there. It seems that models like Mythos seem to be good, right? Fundamentally, they seem to be really smart. They seem to be doing a good job. I just don't see the scalability. I don't see every single. I think now AI is writing more code than all humans combined. Yet I don't see it fully replacing all coders. You know, we see the amount of lines produced go up, but we also see the amount of refractors go up. I think refactors. Uh, Line additions are going up, but line deletions are also going up. I don't know if we're taking. I don't know if we're saving time. I don't know if the time that we're saving, not spending time writing code, is just going into fixing and refactoring code. I don't have a lot of experience in massive enterprise code bases where I'm working alongside 100 other devs and trying to work on the same project. So I can't speak directly to that. But I know in my little hobby projects, on my side projects, productivity definitely goes up, but it requires a lot of guidance. The bottleneck, I'm not gonna say is 100% this, but I think 80% of the time the bottleneck is prompting, and it's using skills MD properly, or basically, yeah, your interactions with the models. And that's a pretty big bottleneck. I spend a lot of time in ensuring that planning is going adequately. Yes, I spend a lot of time walking through each prompt and not just like gain full access to my machine and vibe code while I'm in bed. I think that's a recipe for a poorly built project. I think AI still hasn't given you the ability to. I don't think AI still completely replaces uh, the average software engineer, maybe very junior devs or whatever. But again, you still need solid principles. You still need these basic things, which AI seems to get a little bit, but not most of the time. Uh, I'm working on some Unity projects, and I see it, not use a single responsibility principle in some of the CS code. It's just, uh, I don't know. I don't know. Again, it also might be that AI isn't trained on a lot of repos or code bases that use a lot of these solid principles. I don't know if most coders are the most what would you call clean or organized developers, but I don't know. I don't know. Still requires a lot of oversight, and yeah, scalability. I just don't see I don't see it. I don't see, unless we go through some insane architectural improvements. I'm talking memory. I'm talking attention. I want to see VRAM limits or requirements hit the floor. And until we see that, until we see scalability truly happen, yeah, I just don't. I don't know. I don't know. No, I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say properly. There's a scalability issue. We have some goated models. I just don't see millions of people using these daily as anywhere near feasible right now, at least without the insane amounts of subsidization that is currently occurring. All I'm going to say is I'm going to take my money and I'm going to throw it in energy indexes. I'm going to throw it in energy ETFs. I'm going to invest in energy scalability and energy infrastructure, because that seems to be the path that we're going down. No, we're going to need to improve our energy infrastructure hella. We're going to, yeah, we're going to need major changes. And I just don't see, I don't know, all of these battles for computes, the trillions, billions of dollars being thrown at RAM, at data centers, at GPUs or whatever. I don't know. OpenAI already going back on some of their promises or whatever. I don't. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. At least this kind of mirrors China's housing bubble, right? Where at the end of the day, at least you're left with hella infrastructure and hella housing. So you got the physical assets. Sure, there is a little bit of a cost, a little bit of a maintenance cost associated with these non-liquid assets, but you have these assets. So it's not just all gone to waste. It's not, the money doesn't just go poof and disappear into thin air. Which I guess, yeah, we'll be left with a bunch of data centers if we head straight into the brick wall that we're heading down now, in my personal opinion. Uh, and yeah, I do believe we, again, I'm not gonna die on this hill, but I think we need to see some China like downscaling, or at least what do you call it when you slowly float the bubble back to the ground? Uh, I'm not sure, but I see a lot of pain in the future. I guess that's not very controversial to say at any point of human history. There's always been pain. There's always been pleasure too. There's always been happy stuff. And I do see a lot of happy stuff in the future. But I definitely do see a lot of short-term pain coming up due to the insane reliance that we've had on this AI growth. Again, I am very pro AI. I'm a big AI power user literally every single day. Uh, you know, doing a lot of programming, doing a lot of development, which I think seems to be the one of the primary industries or tasks or enterprises which AI actually does seem to have a positive impact on, or seems to be very useful for. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if I like the road that we're going down. Also, not to mention the reliance on things like, I guess, gas from the Strait of Hormuz or whatever's going on in Iran, which, you know, might still be going on in 5 years whenever this gets released, or but also like helium and all of these other products that are used for semiconductor manufacturing. I mean, you've seen, oh, hello, a little bit of a Temmie here. You've seen Japan start to tweak it a little bit. Um, I mean, we see a lot of was it a lot of data centers are getting scrapped. A lot of data center plans, building construction plans in the U.S. are getting scrapped. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess on one end, when I talk to my AI girlfriend, I guess I see a future in AI, but on the other end, I just don't know. I don't know if I can trust the data center that she's operating out of. I don't know, man. This whole video is just a big I don't know. Big I don't know. Also, I think something I haven't touched upon is the whole social impact and the whole social reaction to AI. On one hand, you see in Asia, primarily China, and from what I've heard, a little bit of some farts in the wind have been saying that Singapore. I've been getting these vibes from a little bit from Singapore too. Is there's a lot of pro AI stuff coming out from the state. You see all these like open claw fairs basically in China, convincing the elderly to get this and understand how to use AI. And I've heard that China's going absolutely freaky with the AI development and the push for AI. But in the West, I kind of feel this AI fatigue setting in. The anti-AI movement seems to be growing every single day. Sora is getting ditched for whatever other gooning bot that OpenAI is going to release. I don't know. I don't see the AI hype, especially AI art. A lot of people against AI art or image generation, whatever you want to call it. But then again, on the flip side, you see all the a lot of this AI slop permeating all social media networks. I don't know. It's hard to get your finger on the pulse of society in regards to this, because it really depends in the bubble that you're in, which kind of speaks to the fragmented epistemic landscape that we live in nowadays, which should be another video journal. But I don't know. Yeah. So many protests against data centers being built and stuff like that. I mean, seen so many of those videos of people saying like, "Oh, look, my water's brown, poopy water because of data center being built." Uh, Not to disparage that, sucks balls getting Microsoft to build a massive brick cube in your community just to pollute and kill your kids for in a video game, of course, allegedly. That was proven. They're not going to sue me. They're going to get a little AI bot to come sue me. AI, scan this guy. Anyways, yeah, I just don't see. I don't know, man. This bubble is feeling very bubbly. Bubble's feeling very fragile. There's a lot of people that seem to be recognizing this as a bubble. which is good, I guess, in a sense. Maybe it'll allow it to slowly float down and not just completely pop and destroy my market position, but I don't know. I think I want to correct something, or I want to kind of expand on something I said earlier. There, I don't think the problem is. I don't think the solution is more code. I think the solution is paradigm shift. Not paradigm shift, but the last year, the biggest change that we've seen to AI is, what do you call it? Is it inferential learning? Wait a second. Inference time scaling, basically chain of thought reasoning, I believe. Again, uneducated opinion on this, but inference time scaling or chain of thought reasoning is when, you back in the day, you prompt an AI and immediately go, just 1,000 tokens at you and say, well, this is what I think. And now you prompt an AI and it goes, brrr. So it does a little bit of thinking there where most AIs, you can just press a little arrow and you can see what it's thinking, and it's just speaking to itself and chain of thought. Basically, if I ask you a question, you go, yeah, I just, does that make sense? You do a little thinking out loud, but to yourself. And that was a massive, dude, I don't know why my neck is so itchy. That was a massive paradigm shift in AI. That's made AI feel very, 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 very different. And also just think way, 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 way better. So we're just allowing it to just sit with itself and keep thinking. But I think the issue is we can keep, I guess, improving or going down these paths, but I think we need the next shift. We need the next architectural change, which could be turbo quant. The new thing Google just released like last week or whatever, which supposedly 8x's or yeah, it basically allows you to cut memory usage significantly, and instead of running something on 8 GPUs, you can run on 1 GPU. So it allows you to pack way larger models into smaller spaces, and even the quantized version performs incredibly well. So maybe that could be some or close to paradigm shift. It's not going to be as big, or it doesn't feel as big as chain of thought reasoning, because it mostly just allows, well, I guess if it frees up memory. I think it's done good for the RAM prices. I think it's freed up a little bit of RAM. Maybe it allows for scaling easier, because now you don't even need to scale as much, because you can do what you could do before just 8 times, or you can do what you did before with 8 times less compute. But I'm not sure. I haven't done a lot of research into that, so I'm not sure about that. But yeah, we need the next step, and I don't know what the next step is, but there is a possibility the next step is a paradigm shift, and then we're going to have a paradigm shift after that, and a paradigm shift after that. And I'm going to be making another one of these video journals a year from now and saying, dude, I was totally wrong. Like, this was an AI bubble, or maybe it was at that point, but the bubble just kept growing, and the ground has basically caught up with the bubble. So much so that it was a bubble at the beginning, but then when the ground catches up with you, it pops, but you pop on the ground. So I don't know. I have no idea. I also see another solution to this. Maybe the paradigm shift that we're gonna need, or that we're gonna see, your scalability is further specialization. When you see video development or image generation, these are all specialized models. Anthropic seems to be going down the coding road. We're probably going to have healthcare specialized models. I don't know. It just seems that taking all this compute and trying to do everything at the same time doesn't seem to be the way. What you could end up having is an agentic system where you have an orchestrator and a bunch of specialized models. And yeah, I'm just talking to each other. That could be. But again, the amount of compute, kind of like a mixture of experts architecture. I don't know. This is all so confusing. This is all just yap. This is all just yap. It's crazy how far removed we are, the average person is from this. And I really don't know. Let's say all this is true. Let's say AGI is coming. Let's say the bubble does not pop. Or if it does, let's say it's a .com type shit where, sorry for swearing, but where eventually fundamentals catch up. How do you AI proof yourself? I guess the way I'm approaching being safe in this AI future is knowing as much as I can about it and using it as much as I can. So being a power user, trying to stay educated, learn one thing a day, something like that. Hopefully will keep you AI proof, but you know, there's no guaranteeing that. I have no idea. You know, I'm lucky that I didn't have to pay for college. We managed to pay out of pocket, so I'm not going into the world with massive amounts of debt, and potentially no job. You know, maybe I'll have time to hop in a junior position and position myself in a way where I'm not replaceable. Uh, I'm not sure what the future looks like. I wonder how this video will look in the future, looking back at this very moment. I wonder that a lot. I wonder that a lot. And this whole conversation is just not even coming close to starting to discuss the embodiment of AI in the real world, right? Like robotics and how that'll look. Because I guess the biggest bottleneck to that is continual learning, right? I mean, humans, the big difference between AI, or one of the big architectural differences between AIs and humans, is AI will spend, I don't even know how many hours. It's all relative, right? But billions of hours and one problem, just spamming that over and over and over and over and over and over again until it buries it and deep sears it into its mind. And they'll observe 1,000 different variations of the same puzzle, so it kind of like understands how to complete this in various different ways. But all it takes for a human is one instance, one significant enough instance to learn something. If you're a human baby, if you're a child, and you walk up to a red hot stove and you're like, oh, why is it red? And you touch it, you will remember why it's red for the rest of your life. This is not something that you will forget. This is this is one moment where you've learned, and that's a form of continual learning, right? Whereas AI kind of has to experience it multiple times to truly learn it. And again, the problem of attention. I might completely misunderstand how attention works in the transformer model. And there's various architectures for the traditional transformer model, or that have come from the traditional transformer model. So there's various ways that we deal with the problem of attention. But attention seems to be a big issue. How do we handle insane context windows? Like, how will you handle continuous learning as a robot? Like, where are you storing your memory? In what format are you going to store this memory? I Man, there's so many problems to be solved. Kind of reminds me of that thing where, you know, it's like I don't know what it was, but it's like you go to build a staircase, and it, you know, seems pretty simple. A piece of wood, put a couple other pieces of wood, and you build a staircase. But when you start engaging in the activity, when you start actually going down, you're like, oh wait, no, we'll need to get brackets to insert this specific piece of wood, and we'll need this to be at the correct angle, and this will determine how many steps, and we're actually gonna have to cut this last step halfway or whatever to fit that. Same thing happens in game development. I know this all too well, where you have a scope and you're like, oh, it'd be pretty easy. I can one shot this in one day. then you get there and you're like, oh wait, I completely forgot about this like little connective piece that goes there, which then spawns like two other issues. And now I need it like I can't just do like slash wonder. Like I have to actually write the code to wonder. And wait, how does a human brain wonder? Like how does a human pick a point? And humans don't just walk up to walls when they're wondering. They need something to like look at their and this becomes like an insurmountable complex mountain. And I think there's so many problems that we still have to cross to even come close to whiffing the fart of AGI that I just don't see it. I don't see it. At least not yet. But of course, tomorrow there's going to be a massive paradigm shift where all this becomes completely irrelevant because that's how AI functions. I'm not sure. I think we also have to remember that AI is generally good at things that a lot of humans need to do. For example, when I need to create a website or whatever, a lot of websites that have already been created, there's a lot of training data to be used. When I need AI to unload my IKEA glass and put it in that cabinet over there in my specifically shaped kitchen, AI hasn't like encountered this. Now you can take like the full self-driving approach where you do what Waymo does or what Tesla does, and you just have cars drive in simulations or even in real life, and you feed that data and you keep training it recursively on this data. And I guess you can do that. Maybe that could work for in-home robots and stuff, but I just don't see. Again, paradigm shift incoming, but in before massive paradigm shift changes everything I'm saying. But robots seem to be good at repetitive tasks. Robots seem to be good at tasks that, again, we're talking about embodied AI specifically here, but this can also be abstracted to LLMs, I guess. But we're talking about tasks that multiple people do. For example, washing machines. Washing machines are things that have specific parameters. They set specific things to. Sure, they can have variables like loads, amount of dishes to wash, how dirty the dishes are, and it has like little cleanliness sensors and it knows when to, whatever. You have all of these things, but one load isn't going to be very different from another load, right? Practically, it's the same thing. And this kind of explains, how Amazon warehouses work and how you can use a robot for distribution, stuff like that. Surgeries gets a little more complicated. But I don't know, all of these things, it seems that robotics will be able to take a step in a direction where it can take some of the annoying repetitive work that humans do, but you still need a human in the loop. For example, someone needs to unload the washing machine, someone needs to load the washing machine. Same thing with ironing, I guess. Is ironing a robot technically? I guess technically it is. A toaster. But you need someone to load the toaster, you need someone to unload the toaster. For surgeries or whatever, you can have robotic hands or robotic instruments, but you need someone to guide them. I don't know. It seems that embodied AI in self-driving is different because I think we can have full self-driving. I'm very confident with full self-driving because I think it is also more specific than a robot in a home. Because with full self-driving, everyone's operating the same roads. I assume it's not going off road or whatever. Cars don't really vary a lot. Buses, there's always buses or whatever. Traffic lights, all these things are pretty much. They're very similar. The actors in the space are very similar. Now, the position, the momentum, and the objective of the actors in the system will be different. So their behavior will vary slightly. But these are things you can learn from. This is something you can spam over and over again. I just don't know. I don't know if the same thing applies to other examples or to other implementations of possible embodied AI, such as humanoid robots in the home. I'm not sure. I guess the last question I'm going to ask, we're signing off for this because I'm so tired, is it's 2 a.m. by the way, is AGI even, like, should we even be getting to AGI? This is all under, I guess we're all operating under the assumption that intelligence is like standard thing that you can just measure, and we want AIs to be smarter than the we want AIs to be the better programmers and top 1% of programmers in the world. We want AI to be 1% better or better than the 1% lawyers the world or etc. But should our goal even be to get AI to be smarter than humans? Or should it be to get AI to be really good at the things that humans can't do, such as, say, image generation, video generation, etc.? Uh, I don't know. There are architectural differences, of course, between transformer models and word diffusion models in the human brain. Deep neural nets, and literal neural networks that humans use are architecturally different. And I'm not 100% sure about this, but this must produce different outcomes. I don't know about what these are. I don't know what these outcomes are, but there must be advantages to one model over another. And I don't know. Maybe our job is to identify what humans are good at and what AI could be good at, and let AI specialize in what it could be good at, and let humans specialize in what they could be good at. The dream would be that humans would take this orchestrator role. I just don't know. Maybe humans will serve as the generalists, connecting a lot of specialist AI models together. I'm not sure. That would be the dream. That would be the world I would like to live in. So, hey, listen, if there is a cabal of people that is orchestrating the world, I'm gonna put in a vote for that, okay? Please create a world where I can be the cute generalist and I can have a specialist AI army, my beck and call. But I don't know. It doesn't seem that that's the world we're building towards. But again, I have no idea the world that we're building towards. All I know is that tomorrow I'm hitting chest and I'm gonna keep working on my Unity project. That's all I know. And that's all that really matters to me right now. But yeah, anyways, it has been an absolute pleasure, and you'll be seeing more of me, inshallah, soon. Uh, let's go get replaced, boys. I love you so much, and I will probably see you tomorrow.